Update. My husband, 29 male, knocked out my brother, 28 male for calling me 26 female a whore, and my parents want me to choose. What is the right choice? Original post. As my title says, basically. This past weekend, my husband and I were over at my parents' house for a barbecue. The day was going great, until my brother, for some reason, started going off on me, calling me names and belittling me. My husband pulled my brother aside and had a talk with him, and the insults stopped. An hour or so later, we were standing around talking with some friends and family members when my brother came up to me and told me I was a whore. His exact words were, "You know you are a freaking whore, right?" He said it loud enough for almost everyone at the party to hear. All I saw was my husband next to me looking at me. Then I felt a push to the side, my husband stepping in front of me, and the next thing I knew, my brother was out cold on the ground with blood on his face. All I heard was my mother yelling and my husband saying, "You don't talk to my wife like that. I warned you already." Before I continue, my husband didn't hurt me. He didn't push me hard or anything like that. I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a push someone gives when they're trying to pass. I took one step back. That was all. I am not mad at my husband. I'm mad at my brother. The whole day he was demeaning me, insulting me, and belittling me. I don't know where this came from, as he has never talked to me like that before, nor to anyone else that I know of. The bigger problem is that I now have to choose, either my husband or my parents. My parents are angry and have given me an ultimatum. I either leave my husband and divorce him, or they cut me off completely. My husband doesn't give a crap that they are mad. The only thing he's mad about is that he only got one punch in, his words. I love my husband and don't want to lose him, but I also don't want to lose my parents. They have supported me through a lot and have always been there for me. I know they are serious because this is the first time they have ever given me an ultimatum. They also threatened my husband with an assault charge, but he doesn't care and welcomed them to do it. I'm stuck between a decision that will change my life forever, and I'm panicking. I have received messages from friends and other family members who have given me support and condemned my husband, but they are leaning more on the support side. Any advice will be appreciated. Edit to clarify, I am choosing my husband. I have never questioned that, but I also don't want to lose my family. I am very family-oriented and family means everything to me. I want to find a solution where I can keep both. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. What kind of family does this stuff? It sounds very dysfunctional. What were the circumstances whereby your brother goes off on you like that? Now your parents issue an ultimatum? I appreciate that your husband stuck up for you, but that was a terrible political move. One thing about my husband, he is sweet and gentle, but he has never cared what someone else thinks about him, other than me and his own mother. Why the heck would he? I only care about what my wife and mother think as well. Nobody else matters. For a moment I thought you were my husband, haha, but then I remember he isn't on Reddit. Ask your parents why they think you should choose them, when they've already made it clear they'll choose your brother no matter what he does to you. Agree. Your folks are acting as bad as your brother. You shouldn't be asked to make a choice. Choose your husband. He's the one who stuck up for you. Your useless parents let your brother speak to you that way. I hate to put it this way, but it doesn't sound like your family is very oriented to you. Your brother verbally demeans you, and your parents apparently didn't care in any way. Why do you want to keep them? Now for the first update. First, I would like to thank everyone, and I also want to apologize for the way I worded my post. There's no excuse, but my emotional state isn't the best. My husband is my choice, and I have no intention of leaving him at all. Never have. I know it's early for an update, but I'm more confused now about what is going on. My parents invited me over to have a talk with them, but they wanted me to come alone as they didn't want my husband at their house. My husband refused to let me go alone and said, if I'm not going, then I won't allow you to. He basically said, if you go alone, they will just pile on you and I won't let that happen. So we went together. My parents were not happy to see him. My mother wanted to say something until my husband told her, I'm not here for you. I'm here for my wife. If you force me to leave, she will leave with me. I agreed with him. Reluctantly, they agreed. My brother was there as well. He has a broken nose and chipped teeth and refused to look at me or my husband. He just kept looking at the ground, even while talking. Apparently, what happened with my brother is that he broke up with his girlfriend a month ago. More like she broke up with him. I don't know the reason and don't care. I wasn't aware of this since we aren't that close. According to him, the reason he lashed out at me this weekend is because my perfect life with my husband kept popping up on his social media feeds and he got jealous. Everything on my social media is about my husband. I don't really use it for anything else. But his feed was full of my posts and that set him off because I had something he didn't. It got worse when he overheard me and my mother talking about children. My husband and I are currently trying to have a baby, and that just made everything worse in his head. His life was falling apart, and mine was going perfectly. I had and was trying to have what he wanted with his ex. He said he didn't take my husband seriously when he pulled him aside and warned him. I seriously don't know why he went after me, as nothing he said was true in any sense. I asked him why he said those things, but he refused to answer me. I asked him why he called me a whore, knowing that my husband was my first in everything and that it has only ever been him all these years. He refused to answer. I asked him if trying to have a baby with my husband makes me a whore just because it involves sex, and he just left the room. I asked my parents why they didn't step in and tell my brother to leave or stop. My dad said he wanted to, but my mother told him to leave my brother be, since he wasn't actually hurting anyone. The same went for the ultimatum. They wanted to protect my brother. I asked, "What about me?" And they were silent. All my father said was that the ultimatum was my mother's idea, and he just went along with it. This is basically where we are at the moment. A lot more was said, but I don't think it matters. My husband did apologize to my parents for what happened, but refused to apologize to my brother. When my mother asked him to apologize to my brother, he outright said no. He said he won't apologize for standing up for me, and that my brother got what he deserved. He was warned and didn't listen. My mother said that still doesn't excuse him for hitting my brother. My husband asked my dad, "What would you do if someone called your wife a whore?" My father said, "I would have a talk with that person, but I would never hit someone." My husband laughed and told my dad, "You're a weak-willed, spineless man if you allow someone to demean your wife like that." That made my mom turn red with anger. I could see her getting upset, and that's when I told my husband it was time to leave. I told my parents that I will be going low contact with them because the ultimatum they gave me broke the trust I had in them. I understand they wanted to protect my brother, but in doing so, they hurt me. This seemed to take all the anger out of my mother. They asked if I would be cutting them off completely, and I told them that is up to them. I don't want anything to do with my brother at the moment, as he can't even apologize for what he said to me. I told them that if they can respect my wishes, we will see. When we got up to leave, my husband actually went over to my parents and still greeted them politely, but told my dad, "It's time to grow a backbone." I don't know what I saw, but I think it was shame on my mother's face, because my dad looked at her and she looked away from him. This is where we are at the moment. On the way home, my husband apologized for possibly escalating things, but told me it was time someone told your dad the truth. He said, "Whatever punishment comes, I will take it and deal with any fallout. You don't need to worry or stress about anything. Your parents suck, as well as your brother." My father just follows what my mother said. In my 26 years of life, I have never seen my dad go against my mother on anything. Anything she says or wants to do is fine with him no matter the cost. For instance, my dad basically has no friends, as my mother didn't like them, so he gave them up and hasn't made new friends, because when he tried, my mother finds something she doesn't like about that person and he agrees. Sounds like your mom spiritually broke your dad, raised an emotionally stunted son, and doesn't have your back. She is toxic. It's freaking hilarious how they told you to divorce your husband or they'll cut you off. But as soon you say you're going low contact, they are like, but why? They expected OP to choose her parents who don't care about her and the brother who calls her a whore over her husband. Why? Second update. My brother's ex cheated on him, and apparently, he begged her to fix things, but she chose the other guy. Now he's just pissed and angry at every woman and believes we will all eventually do that. I got a message from my cousin. The family had a go at my parents for allowing my brother to talk to me the way he did. My parents finally came clean about why he acted that way, but they couldn't do it when I was there. They couldn't be honest with me and just refused to answer. Now for the second story. My sister-in-law, female 31, disinvited my wife, female 28, from her baby shower after a joke. But my brother, male 35, still wants me to go. I am stuck in the middle. Original post. Hi, male 30, recently married the love of my life, and I'm super close with my brother. We always imagined our families being close too, until one single lunch ruined everything. So, my wife and I went out to eat with my brother and my sister-in-law, who is pregnant and about to give birth to my first nephew. Needless to say, we are all very excited. Mid-meal, my brother, probably feeling sentimental, goes, "Man, I hope the baby turns out like OP. He was such a cute kid." Now, a bit about my sister-in-law. She's usually nice and I like her, but she's definitely type A and a bit high maintenance. Without missing a beat, she shuts my brother down. "No, I'd much rather he turns out like you." A bit of an awkward comment, and my brother probably thought so as well, so he goes, "No, seriously, we'd be lucky if the kid was like OP. He was such a nice and cute kid." And then sister-in-law doubles down, "No, but you're so much more handsome," before turning to look directly at me and adding, "No offense." Now look, I wasn't deeply offended. My brother is a very good-looking guy, so I get it. But who just says that out loud? My wife, who had been quiet up to this point, clearly found it rude. So she jokingly goes, "Well, as long as the baby doesn't look like sister-in-law, we should be fine." I chuckled. My brother laughed. Sister-in-law did not laugh. She immediately got angry, glared at my wife and went, "What the hell does that mean? That's extremely rude. We're not close enough for jokes like that." My wife was taken aback, and so was I. My brother tried to say something, but she stormed out. My brother followed her, looking about as confused as I felt. Fast forward to today. Sister-in-law has officially disinvited my wife from the baby shower and celebration. My wife says she doesn't even want to go, which, fair enough. My brother is devastated and really wants me to be there. Now here's the thing. My brother adores me. He's always been my biggest supporter, and he wants me to be a big part of my nephew's life. He's having his first child, and this moment is really important to him. I love my brother too, and can't see him sad like that. He says both my wife and sister-in-law need to apologize eventually, but we shouldn't force it right now and should give them some time to cool off. He also thinks sister-in-law owes me an apology for what she said, but again, pregnancy hormones or whatever, so he doesn't want to push it yet. My parents actually side with my wife and think sister-in-law was out of line first, but they also believe I shouldn't miss such a huge moment in my brother's life, and that we should cut sister-in-law some slack because of her pregnancy. Here's my issue. I don't feel right going if my wife isn't welcome. I want to support her, but I also know this moment means the world to my brother. If I go, my wife might feel abandoned. If I don't, my brother will be heartbroken. I feel completely stuck. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You stay home with your wife. Send a gift. Your brother has to deal with his wife. Absolutely. Choose your wife OP, or it will be the beginning of the end of your marriage. Pregnancy hormones are a real thing. Definitely don't force anything until the sister-in-law is ready. You should definitely sit this one out with your wife. Your wife is your nuclear family now, and as much as you love your brother, him and his wife come second in your list of priorities now. Pregnancy hormones are a real thing, but not an excuse to mistreat others or refuse to apologize. She was even cautioned to stop. Now for the update a week later. Thanks everyone for the replies. I think I read almost every single one. I really appreciated the different perspectives. First, some clarifications. 1. My wife is not a mean person. She made a joke in the moment, although I admit that it wasn't a great joke given the sensitivity of the situation, but she's genuinely one of the kindest, most caring people I know. That's one of the reasons I love her so much. 2. I don't think my brother did anything wrong by bringing up the topic. We were reminiscing about childhood, and he probably got nostalgic about having his little brother following him everywhere. My brother and I resemble each other quite a bit, though he's definitely the better-looking one. Funny how that works. And just to be clear, that doesn't mean I'm insecure. If anything, he's the outlier. He's one of those people who naturally turn heads. Even when we were younger, he'd get random girls hitting on him wherever he went. It was such a running joke in our family that even my parents would tease him about it. 3. The entire conversation lasted less than 5 minutes and escalated very quickly. I agree with the comments that all of us should have handled the situation better, but it's easier to say that in hindsight. In real time, things just got out of hand very quickly. I am sure that all of us regret what we said in the moment. Now for the actual update. I told my wife that I wouldn't go unless she was also invited. She immediately told me that she didn't want to be the reason I missed it and that I should go if I wanted to. She even said she'd be willing to apologize if my sister-in-law was open to it, but that she wouldn't attend even if re-invited because she'd feel uncomfortable. I told her I appreciated that, but for me, it was both of us or none of us. Then I called my brother, and this is where I have to give him a lot of credit because I know he was upset. He had really wanted me there, and I could hear the disappointment in his voice. But instead of pushing, he just said, "I get it, man. Don't worry about it." I know that wasn't easy for him to say. He had to balance keeping things calm with his wife, while also wanting his brother by his side. But he didn't guilt-trip me, didn't try to convince me otherwise. He just let me make my choice. He even said, "Don't worry, we'll save you guys some food and I'll drop it off later." I offered to help with setup if he needed it, and told him to say I had COVID to avoid awkward questions. He just laughed and said, "Got it, you caught the world's shortest COVID, just long enough for the baby shower, but miraculously recovered the next day." Now here's where things got a bit more complicated. My mom was not happy with him for not sorting this out earlier. She felt like he should have stepped in and made peace before it got to the point where my wife was uninvited. But my parents didn't say anything directly because they didn't want to get involved in the drama. I think that really weighed on him. He was already trying to navigate a tough situation, and now he had our parents silently judging him too. It put him in an impossible position, trying to be a good husband, a good brother, and a good son all at once. A couple of days passed with no further drama. Then something unexpected happened. My wife got a call from my sister-in-law. At first, my wife panicked, thinking she was about to get yelled at. But instead, they actually had a really good conversation. I overheard bits of it, including my wife saying, "No, you're gorgeous," which made me laugh a little. After the call, my wife told me that sister-in-law actually apologized first. She admitted that she'd been feeling really self-conscious about her looks during pregnancy, and that my wife's joke had hit a sore spot. A little later, my brother called me. He told me that he had gently talked to sister-in-law and helped her see that things had gotten out of hand. He also told me that knowing my wife was willing to apologize had made a huge difference. And then he admitted something. He had wanted to fix things before the baby shower, but he knew his wife was already under a lot of stress. He didn't want to add more pressure on her while she was in the middle of planning. And honestly, I respect that. My sister-in-law is one of those people who needs everything to be perfect. Her look, my brother's look, the house, the decorations, etc. So I can understand the pressure she must have put on herself. And my brother knew that pushing her while she was stressed wouldn't have helped, so he waited. And after the event, when things calmed down, he quietly stepped in and fixed things. So where do things stand now? Things seem good on the surface. My wife and sister-in-law made peace, and my brother and I are fine. My wife and I have decided to just be extra sensitive around sister-in-law given what she is going through. All in all, the situation seems to have brought us somewhat closer together. The real takeaway: I have an amazing wife, but her humor could use some work. Also, my brother ain't too bad. Edit. Everyone keeps asking why my wife didn't apologize first. I thought I made it clear in the post, but maybe not. My wife was going to apologize, but wanted to check if sister-in-law was open to it. She had just been uninvited, so we had no idea whether my sister-in-law was even open to talking to her. I had told my brother that my wife wanted to apologize, and if he had given us the green light, my wife would have absolutely called. Instead, my sister-in-law decided to call once my brother told her that my wife wanted to apologize. That was her being the bigger person.